The T20 World Cup of 2026 is an event that Indian fans are looking forward to like crazy for two main reasons. One, of course, India are the defending World Cup T20 champions, and number two, the tournament is going to be hosted in India. But what it is that we know so far about the schedule and everything surrounding that is mostly source based, as nothing really has yet been confirmed by the ICC or the BCCI and Sri Lankan cricket, which of course happen to be the co-hosts for 2026. But we're getting to now know some more details about which cities could potentially be hosting the big matches, and that's what we're going to discuss in this video. First off, let's start with the most obvious question. Which city gets to host the final? That is most likely going to be Ahmedabad, which should come as a surprise to no one really, given how many big matches have been played at the stadium in Ahmedabad. That's not really a surprise. Of course, it's also likely to host the opening game of the tournament, which again shouldn't come as a surprise, given the exact same thing happened in the 2023 edition of the ODI World Cup as well. The opener was played at the Narendra Modi Stadium. Now, as for the semi-finals, well, there's a toss-up because multiple reports are claiming multiple things, but two cities that definitely look likely to be getting at least one of the semi-finals are Mumbai and Kolkata, which again makes sense considering the two of your most iconic sporting or cricketing cities in the nation. But of course, all of this is hinged on one major factor, the Pakistan factor. So what happens if Pakistan do the unthinkable and then end up qualifying for the knockout rounds? That's something that of course merits a little bit of discussion, but if that does indeed happen, then the semi-final and final will be taking place in Sri Lanka, which again makes sense. And in fact, what then could happen is that Colombo will be the venue that hosts both of the knockouts. In fact, this is the case not only for if Pakistan make it to the semis, but also if by some miracle or minor miracle that Sri Lanka also qualify for the knockout stages, their game will also then be played in Sri Lanka. Of course, for Pakistan, the agreement is rather different. You'd remember that the ICC has come up with some sort of an agreement between the BCCI and the PCB, which mandates that should either of these two nations be hosting a major ICC event, then the opposing nation need not play their games in that particular venue. So all of Pakistan's group games too will be taking place in Sri Lanka, and even if they make it to the knockouts, it'll also be played in Sri Lanka. Similar, of course, is for India in the future, like what we saw, of course, in the 2025 Champions Trophy. So the knockout stages will most likely be held across India only, but for two major factors. One is, of course, if Sri Lanka make it to the knockouts, then their game will be played in Sri Lanka. But even if they can make it to the final, and if India are in the final, then of course Ahmedabad will host the final. And if Pakistan make it through to the semi and final, then both their games will be played in Colombo. Otherwise, Ahmedabad and India look likely to be hosting the final. That's what we're getting to know. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on these particular potential host cities. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, to like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, follow us also on social media. We're on Instagram, X and Facebook, and stay tuned for more such updates from the world of sport.